The Mexican drug cartels have more to say about what goes on the southern border than our own U.S. government does.
When Title 42 ends, we will have 14,000 illegal immigrants a day.
Welcome back to America Decides. The situation at the U.S.-Mexico border has long been a political talking point here in Washington, one that Republican candidates in particular often campaign on. The issue, as you saw just there, is already top of mind for those running or might run for president in 2024. Joining me now are Leslie Sanchez and Kristian Ramos. Leslie is a CBS News political analyst and Republican strategist, and Kristian is a Democratic strategist and senior advisor at Way to Win. Lovely to have you both here. Appreciate your time. Let's talk about immigration and the politics. Leslie, you have covered, Republicans well on this issue. No surprise that they are seizing on this to go after Biden. Are there any nuances here, though? And is it a successful strategy?
I don't know if you could ever say Republicans have a successful strategy, actually, on immigration reform. Even if you look at the Republican successes on passing reforms and laws, such as the 86 with Ronald Reagan, you can't forget that Ronald Reagan had tremendous pushback for his declared amnesty of 3 million, undocumented immigrants. So there was no win or lose in these situations. And it's remarkable. Even George W. Bush had the same problem when he talked about full comprehensive immigration reform. Many on the kind of stark right of our party were going to push back with what you heard were draconian measures. Fast forward to where we are today, I think there is an opportunity for Republicans. You're seeing, unfortunately, a lot of the governors step in, the courts are stepping in, but the federal government is not stepping in terms of leadership. And I think that's where they're going to seize an opportunity.
And to that point, are Democrats liable here? Is there some vulnerability for President Biden on this issue, especially as you see this surge right now?
So sources close to President Biden and his administration tell me that what they're putting forward is pragmatic, and it is looking to create a legal process for people that are coming here looking for help, and it is designed to create order at the border. Order is very important. When I talk to people on the ground in those border states, they tell me, look, we just want a legal, orderly process to allow people here. And it's an important distinction that we need to make here, because Leslie's making some really excellent points. At the end of the day, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, they all agree that we should help people who want to come to this country, who are fleeing violence, who are fleeing oppression, and want to contribute, and we should help find a way. The difference is MAGA Republicans today no longer believe that we should let people in through our southern border who need help. They're very clear. Build the wall, right? Put people in cages on the border, children, right? That is their policy. We know what a Donald Trump immigration plan looks like. That's the problem we have today. We need solutions from Congress, and they're not helping.
At the same time, however, though, you have had Republicans make strides among Latino voters, obviously not a monolithic group, but Republicans might argue that this has been something that they haven't really faced political consequences for.
The interesting part, we were just talking about right before we started, that we're both from South Texas. We both grew up along the border. Our families are from those areas. And for families that have been here generationally, they used to say, I would feed the immigrants, the undocumented migrants, as they were crossing and provide there. And there was a lot of compassion and humanization of people as they were trying to work. George W. Bush's governor used to say someone who would walk 400 miles to feed their family, we need to find a legal way for them to be in this country. Where we are now is the fundamental federal system failed. So when you have 2/3 of undocumented immigrants have been here over 10 years with no path to legalization, the whole infrastructure is broken down. I think the most intentional individuals and organizations right now are the cartels and the coyotes and people that are moving these, these migrants in very desperate situations across the border in terms of a hope for a strategy that does not exist. It doesn't exist north of the border. So, I think that's more a political reality on both sides. And you can say, build the wall, do those things, but you still can't get them through the process. And people can't disappear into the U.S. economy and be vulnerable, and it exploits a lot of individuals.
So Leslie's bringing up an excellent point. And the Washington Post today had an editorial board op-ed. Biden's doing the best that he can on the border. And one of the key arguments they made, and what I hear from a lot of folks on the Hill, is we want to fix this, but we can't do this on our own. Congress needs the Republican Party to step in here with ideas, with plans that are actionable, that will actually help bring those folks who are here for 10 years, as Leslie mentioned, give them a path to citizenship, help them make our economy stronger and better. But we need the Republican Party to come and help.
And as you both know, I mean, immigration reform on Capitol Hill has long been a challenge, and it figures to be even more so as we're heading into a 2024 presidential election, where this is just going to be such a hot button issue. Obviously, kind of switching gears a little bit, but staying on that topic, Donald Trump was again in the news last night, had a town hall on CNN. But I'm curious, kind of from both of you, how you see Trump playing here. I do want to play a little bit of sound from Chris Sununu, who's the New Hampshire governor. And Leslie, I want to get your take.
He's politically weak. He can claim to be a fighter, but he doesn't get wins. He can claim that he wants to secure the border, but he didn't do it. He can claim he wants health care reform. He didn't do it. He can claim he wanted to drain the swamp. He didn't do it. He lost all of those fights.
All right, so the governor talking to our Christina Carujo there in New Hampshire. Is this sentiment representative of the Republican Party? I mean, at the same time, we see Donald Trump leading in all of the polls and maintaining a firm grip on the base.
Donald Trump still has the firm grip on the base. Donald Trump is still the majority, earns the majority of support among primary voters. And you can't discount that the governor is also running for president, you know, building his own national campaign. So he's coming out with some really sharp elbows and very fair punches. That town hall did not do Donald Trump any favors. If anything, it was cringeworthy to so many Republicans, including, I would argue, there is a stronger base of former Trump supporters that you are starting to see that want to pass on the baton. They do not want the antics, the drama. They like the style, like they want a strong, forceful type populist candidate, not a George H.W. Bush, you know, white glove, you know, a kind of soft, genteel type of leader. They want a tough spokesman, but increasingly these efforts are causing them to question what is the alternative.
And that's the biggest question heading into this primary is there going to be an alternative and who can make that case? We will talk to both of you a lot over the course of this cycle because there's a lot to discuss, but thank you so much for being here for our panel. 2 Texans on the panel today. Thank you both. And a history